My name is Amanda Shekarchi. I am joined by Noah Malcolm. Noah is a singer songwriter and film composer from Prince Edward Island. Since releasing music in 2022, Noah has already won a variety of awards, such as Pop Recording of the Year at the MPEI Awards, which he received last year, and Best Folk Video at the Canadian Indie Music Video Awards in 2021. Noah's latest singles are Serial and Going Through It. Thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Congratulations on all your amazing achievements so far. How would you describe your music journey?
Ooh, that's a big question. I think the Coles notes, it's been a lot of different things combined into one because I grew up playing by ear and then I studied classically and then I started doing musical theater and then I started songwriting and at that time I started doing some film and TV composing. So I'm a little bit of a jack of all trades, master of none type of person, and I think that comes out in my music too. There's lots of different styles, genres, but I think my voice as a songwriter is the through line through it all.
That's amazing. Now, you brought up a really interesting point, which I also am a musician and I learned how to play by ear as well, like starting off with the piano and singing. So, how has learning to play by ear influenced the way you create music?
It's been pretty major. Yeah, I just grew up playing. We had an acoustic piano in my household, so every day after school, I would throw my school bag on the floor and just make music. I was just composing from like age 5, 6, and up. And fortunately, later in life, I got formal training, so I was able to pair my ear with theoretical training. So now, with those two things together, I'm kind of able to lead intuitively with my ear, but also have the knowledge of what I'm doing to support it. But I would say my ear training and my skills that I developed learning music independently are definitely what guides me through all my creative processes.
You recently performed at the JUNOfest. How was that?
It was amazing. Yeah, it was my first time in BC. So it's a long trip from Prince Edward Island to Vancouver. But I had an amazing time. I met so many cool people. My shows were really well received. I play with another artist, Kelly Loader. So I got to play in their band, wearing their merch right now. It was a great time. I just met so many cool artists, producers, and got to go to the awards and just be a part of the Junos. And also, it was really magical just going in the mountains. I got to do a couple hikes. I'm a big nature person, so it was a really great trip.
Love all of that. So, I know you also got to play here in Toronto at one of my favorite venues, the Burdock Brewery. How was that? What do you remember about that show?
It was a really special show. So it was a triple bill put on by Small Audio Projects, which is like a Toronto indie concert curator. So it was me and a PEI now living in Toronto artist named Nadia Haddad and Maria Aragon. So it was a really amazing night. That room is incredible and it sounds so good in there, as you know, if it's your favorite venue. The room was full and we each did our thing, and it was really great night because they're kind of more like R&B soul. I was bringing some like kind of folk pop vibes. So yeah, it was one of my favorite shows that I've done for sure.
Yeah, so I want to talk about your music. So, the recent singles being Serial and Going Through It. What is the inspiration behind them?
I'll start with the most recent one, going through it. Um, I had this kind of verse chorus idea that I wrote, I think maybe in 2021 during one of my multiple 2-week self isolation COVID moments. And I think what I remember at the time is I was starting to, focus more on my music and recording and just kind of really going for the career. and just getting caught up in things like comparison and seeing people go viral on the internet and wondering like when's my time going to come and all these things that are very relatable for artists getting caught in the rat race of the music industry. And it kind of opens with this line about basically tell me why I care what people say on the internet. I use a different word in there, but yeah, it's really raw emotions, just about going through it, like emotionally, whatever that is for the listener, whether it's grieving or a relationship or financial troubles. I think a lot of people can relate to it in their own way, but it was born out of like a frustration and just an honesty and owning, having to go through a process of deep emotional struggle, if you will. Um, so that's where that one came from. And Serial, I released back in October of 2024. And it's a song that I had been playing for a few years at my live shows. And it was one that I consistently got like a really strong response from because it was about my first love experience, um, which for me was kind of an interesting time because I'm a member of the queer community, and I had just come out to my family and the world. And also at the same time, I was dating someone for the first time and experiencing queer love, which was kind of a foreign thing because, my day and age didn't see a lot of that in movies or TV. It wasn't as widely as accepted and celebrated as it is now. So it was kind of this dichotomy of like a kind of a painful time, but also like a really special, loving time. But through that relationship, I learned that people are flawed. I'm flawed. The relationship eventually came to an end, and I wrote this song about that a couple of years after the fact when I was able to kind of look back with a little bit more clarity and peace. And it's really like a warm, kind of positive song, even though it's about a failed relationship. It's I'm the type of person that those experiences, whether they're positive or negative, they always are positive to me because I've gained something, I've learned something, I've connected with someone. So it's kind of wrapping that experience and that time in my life in like a nice little warm present. And yeah, people really gravitate to that song. So they're both out in the world. You can listen to them on my streaming services or wherever. And yeah, I'm really proud of them.
That is all so beautiful. And I feel like, we only learn through trying different experiences and taking, the next step. And I love that you looked at the end with such, the way you reflected back and really doing a positive spin of what that was like for you. So I think that's really incredible.
Thank you.
Of course. So I want to talk about your film composing because that's also something that I have in common with you.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah. What is your history with film scoring?
I wanted to go into to study composition and be a film composer, and that's why I originally went to university. I studied classical piano at the University of Prince Edward Island. And at that time, songwriting or having a solo artist career was not on my radar at all. Doing theater was not on my radar. I just wanted to get a music degree, and then I was going to do my master's in composition or some kind of film diploma or something, because I grew up loving film scores, all the greats, John Williams, Hans Zimmer, like Thomas Newman. I would just obsessively listen to film scores, and I just decided that's what I wanted to do. And then just through life, I kind of got pulled into all these different musical directions. But at some point, I think the first thing I did was actually a student film from Toronto Metropolitan University student. And it was like a 1 minute film project. And I don't know how I found him, but I did this score and I really loved it. I also did Foley for it. I've just always loved putting music to picture. And then I just slowly started to build a tiny little resume. And it was really when I moved back to Prince Edward Island, where I am now, that things started to kind of take off more. There's a really strong music and film community here on the island. and a lot of my friends are artists and creatives, and we've been able to support each other in sharing collaborative projects with each other. So yeah, I just started doing it, and I have composed maybe, I don't know, maybe like 6 to 8 short films, and I've scored a couple regional TV series here on the island. And I did my first feature film. I co-composed a score for a movie called Who's Your Father, um, which was in theaters across the country. So yeah, it's just something I've been able to kind of do on the side, and it's been really cool to have that be a part of my creative life, because that's kind of the direction I was shooting for. And then I kind of did all these other things, but now all of these things that I am interested in doing are kind of part of my life, and I've been able to freelance doing that. So it's something I really love, and I actively want to continue doing.
That's amazing. Congratulations on that. It's such a cool experience getting to do that. So I want to talk about festival season because that's coming up here. One in June is the North by Northeast Festival, and I know you played that last year. What was your experience during that?
I had a great time at North by Northeast. I lived in Toronto for 5 years. So it was really great to be able to go back to Toronto and play NXNE. It was my first time, and I had a great show. It was at the back room of the Cameron House. And also, my pal Braden Lamb from Nova Scotia was on the bill, and he was on my bill in Vancouver last week at JUNOfest as well. So we got to share the stage with him, and the room was packed. It was such a fun night, and yeah, there was so much music around the city. There's just so much going on at NXNE, so I got to like bop around with my bracelet and go check out some new artists, go support some pals, and I had a great time.
Me too. It was my first time last year at North by Northeast as well, and I agree with you. There's so many options when it comes to genres and locations, and music just catered for anyone.
Hmm.
Yeah, so what is next for you?
I feel like I'm spinning so many plates all at once. But what's coming down the pipeline? I'm going to be going to the East Coast Music Awards in St. John's, Newfoundland this year in May. So I'm up for a couple awards for folk recording of the year for Serial, which is really exciting, and pop recording of the year for my song January, which was has been a favorite of mine. So I'm going to be there, and then I actually am doing some music directing for theater this summer again, because that's something I found myself doing. So I'm music directing a show for all of May. I'm performing at the Festival of Small Halls in PEI on June 22nd. It's a really special folk trad music festival. That's the one that Madeline Roger, is it Roger or Roger?
Yeah, Madeline Roger, that's so cool.
So she's playing that festival. And then in July, my July is open for me time. So there's a couple maybes. I might be going back to BC to do a little tour with my friend Kelly. And I might have a show being booked out there as well. And something I'm really excited for is I'm going to be recording some new music. I just got some funding, so I have a meeting after this with a producer actually to kind of start making a game plan, because I've been really wanting to get a full length album out, which I don't have, and I feel like it's been kind of that last missing piece to kind of escalate me to the next level of my career. I have an EP and then a long line of singles, so I'm really trying to hone in on what my vision is for my debut album. So there's lots of, it's going to be a really creative, fruitful time coming up the next few months.
That's so exciting. I'm really
Yeah.
happy for you, and I can't wait to hear that album.
Yeah. Stay tuned. Me too.
So where can people find you?
I am on all the things under Noah Malcolm. There's 2 L's in Malcolm. Some people forget the second silent one. But I'm on all the streaming services. I have a website. You can find me on social media at noah.malcolm. And yeah, check out my stuff. Say hi. Send me a DM. I love connecting with people and hearing how my music resonates with them. So yeah.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for being here. Go check out the singles Serial and the latest one, Going Through It. And stay tuned for hopefully the debut album. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.